Namaste everybody. In the previous video, I explained the very first chapter of Moments books, The Lost Child. And in this video, I am going to explain the second chapter, that is the Adventures of Toto, written by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond is an Indian author of British descent. He lives with his adopted family in Mansouri, India. He was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra. His novel in English. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and the Padma Bhushan in 2014. Now let us discuss the title of this story, The Adventures of Toto. This is a very funny and adventurous story of a very naughty monkey named Toto. The writer's grandfather bought the monkey from a Tonga driver, and the mischief or problems created by that Toto, it means monkey, has been narrated in an interesting way and make the story very real for us. Now let us come to the very first paragraph of this story. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough, and the monkey looked so out of place that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. Now, first of all, let us see the difficult words. Feeding trough means a large container for feeding animals. Tonga means horse cart. So here the writer's grandfather bought a monkey named Toto from a Tonga driver by paying 5 rupees to him. Now you all will be surprised and shocked also. How can anyone buy any monkey only at 5 rupees? So this story is very old, and in that time rupees had much more value than today it had. So the Tonga driver had tied the little red colored monkey to a feeding trough so that he could not run away. When the writer's grandfather saw the monkey, he had a desire to add him to the collection of animals which he had in his zoo at home. Now, the grandfathers of the writer had a private zoo, and he wanted to add this Toto monkey in his private zoo. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrow, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks. Grandfather believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, also serve as a third hand. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. So, let us see first the difficult words. Anglo Indian means a person relating to both Britain and India. Pickled means food that is preserved in vinegar. Scooping up means lifting. So here the writer gives the description of the physical appearance of the Toto monkey. The writer says that he had bright shiny eyes which were full of mischief. The eyebrows set deeply set on his face. His teeth were like pearls. Pearls means moti. Many ladies belonging to the Anglo Indian community got scared when they saw his teeth, which were displayed when he smiled. Toto's hands were dry and wrinkled, as if they had been dried in the sun like pickled vegetables. He had a long tail. The writer's grandfather thought that the tail added to the good looks of an animal. It means without a tail, an animal cannot looks good. So Toto's tail was like a third hand for him. It helped him hang from the branch of a tree. He also used it to lift objects which were beyond his hands' reach. Grandmother always first when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal, so it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. Now, here peg means a hook or fused. Fused means became very angry. The writer's grandmother was against the grandfather's attitude of bringing new pets. So here grandmother did not want that the narrator's grandfather uh, bring any pets at home like birds and animals. So the grandfather thought that they would conceal this fact from her until she was in a good mood. At that time, they would disclose this to her. The writer and his grandfather secured Toto in a little cupboard in the writer's room. In order to be sure that Toto did not escape, they tied him to a hook in the wall. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. I wondered what grandmother would say, but grandfather did not worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. Here, first of all, let us say some difficult words of this paragraph. Ornamental means decorative, naked means uncovered, wrenched means broke out, Socket means attachment, and shred means cut into thin pieces or slices. So here the writer and his grandfather went to Toto after a few hours. The sight was shocking and surprising. Toto had torn the decorative wallpaper. He had broken the hook and had escaped from his binding. Also, he tore the writer's blazer into thin pieces. He is clever, said grandfather. Given time, I am sure he could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window. Here, the grandfather was quite delighted and happy to see Toto's performance. He felt that Toto was very clever. He said that if they would have given him more time, he would have tied the thin pieces of the writer's torn blazer into a rope and would have escaped out of the window. His presence in the house is still a secret. Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey would not allow any of his companions to sleep at night. So, grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. So, here sociably means in a friendly manner. Now, Toto was shifted to the servant quarter. He was put in a cage. He would live with the other pets in grandfather's zoo. The zoo comprised of a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a squirrel, and the writer's pet goat. Toto was very mischievous. He did not let the animals sleep at night. The writer's grandfather had to leave for the Saharanpur the next day, so he decided to take Toto along as he was surprised to see the performance of the Toto because Toto was creating many problems. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode. Abode means home. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air. An exhibition that attracted a curious crowd of onlookers on the Dehradun railway platforms. Here, the writer was disappointed as he could not accompany his grandfather and Toto on that trip. His grandfather narrated the whole story or the happening of the trip to him later. He had got a special bag for Toto. It was made of a strong material canvas. He placed some dry grass at the bottom of the bag. On the trip, the bag would be Toto's home, as he would live in it. The bag had a zipper on top of it. The writer's grandfather ensured that when the bag was closed, Toto would not be able to escape out of it. Neither he come out of the opening as it was closed with a zipper, nor could it bite the strong canvas material in order to run away. Still, Toto made unsuccessful attempts to come out of the bag, and due to this, many times the bag would roll on the floor or it would certainly jump in the air. So, these movements were noticed by the people on the railway platform and made them curious to know what was inside the bag. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. Here, grin means a smile. Turnstile means a mechanical gate consisting of revolving horizontal arms fixed to a vertical post, allowing only one person at a time to pass through. So here Toto remained secured in grandfather's bag till Saharanpur. At the Saharanpur railway station, the writer's grandfather was taking out his tickets to cross the turnstile. At that time, Toto poked out of the bag and smiled at the ticket collectors. The poor man was taken aback, but with great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." Here, annoyance means to anger someone. So here the ticket collector was surprised to see a monkey in grandfather's bag. He recovered quickly and asked grandfather to pay the ticket money for traveling with a dog. So today I have discussed some of the paragraphs of this story, and I hope that you all will understand this story, and I will explain the next paragraph in the next class. So thank you.